Hi, welcome to Channeling One, and I am La Alila. Um, I just really wanted to share with you. I've had a lot of the same repetitive theme happening with clients over a lot, and it's really good information. So I thought I'd kind of take a little bit of different pieces that I've got and try to share them with you so that you can kind of think about how they might work and help in your life. Um, I recently was called um, to go see my parents. I just felt like I really needed to go see them. And I got on the plane and I was headed off. It was very last minute and getting to the plane. And it's kind of funny how I like to talk to people. And so I'll randomly just talk to people. But this particular day, I was just like, oh, you know, airplanes is a place that very often whoever's put next to me on the seat gets information. And sometimes I just don't want to engage. I mean, I'm human, it's my aspect. But anyway, so this particular day, I was like, the plane wasn't going to be full. I had already checked. They're like, oh, we're going to have empty seats. And I was like, yes, it won't be crammed in. And I get down and I sit on the aisle seat. And we get almost to the very end, and there's like two people coming, and nobody was next to me at this point. I was like, yay. I know that's horrible. But anyway, so this lovely gentleman comes in and he says, is anybody sitting there? No. Can I sit down? Sure. Yeah, go ahead. And so he takes the seat and he goes next to the window. And I go instantly back into my book. And I'm just like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm just tired. I need a rest. And he went into his electronics and we managed to go the vast majority of the flight without even saying boo. I know that's terrible. And at some point near the end, I happened to look up the same time he looked up, and then we saw each other and we had to engage because it's the first time we really had looked at each other. And so I was like, hello, hello, and we talked about, oh, where are you going? What's up? And we start chit chatting. He was a very lovely gentleman. And it was really interesting because in the course of our conversation, my husband and I are very nomadic. We move about all the time. And he said, "Oh, that's cool," because he asked me where I live, and I said, "Well, everywhere, nowhere. We bounce around depending on wherever we're called to go." Really lucky, my husband works remotely, and so and I work remotely, so it works out perfect. And he's like, I've always dreamed about it. I've been looking at RVs. I've been looking at vans, conversion vans, So he started asking me questions about what it was like, because it is a very different lifestyle. It's not for everybody, because it is very physical at times. And so anyway, we were talking about that. And then all of a sudden my guides popped in and they said, why aren't you doing it? He went on to say, oh, my job doesn't really allow for that. And they like, are you doing what you want to do? And he was like, well, no, not really. And so they started questioning and they started asking. Now it was coming to me through downloads, where they were basically just kind of giving the information. So it was kind of like me relaying stuff that they were asking. And it was really interesting. What happened was he ended up sharing that he was really in a job he wasn't enjoying, wasn't called to do, got no gratification out of, but he was doing it because he felt like that was the responsible things to do. He had to, meet the guidelines of what the world needed. You need a roof over your head, you need stability, you need this, that, and the other thing. Well, long story short, he works in an industry that is very volatile. And there are times where it is boom and everything is wonderful. But if there's any tweaks in the economy, his job is affected drastically. And I was like, where is the stability in that? He's like, well, yeah, I don't know. And he said, but what, do you have something that you're drawn to do? And he says, oh, I know what I was born to do. Now I won't share this because this is his personal information, but he says, I know what I was meant to do. I'm like, well, then why aren't you doing it? He's like, well, a lot of people don't succeed in it. There's a lot of things that, there's just a lot of instability in it. And I'm like, well, it sounds like there's a lot of instability in your life now. And he's like, yeah, well, okay. So I want to talk about illusion, because it seems that the world has given us so many illusions of what stability looks like. Stability looks like a building over your head. It looks like a steady paycheck from week to week, but you don't necessarily know you'll have a job 6 months or a year from now. You would assume you would, but things change. The economy changes, um, things break down, COVID hits, whatever the case may be. Um, and so then you have this illusion that things are really stable when maybe they're not. And you stay in things that maybe don't bring you much joy or happiness because of the illusion that it's the place to be and the stability that's there. And so it's really made me question a lot. And I know even with our lifestyle being the way that it is, it's made me question a lot about what stability really is, or what happiness, how happiness impacts our life. And so for anybody that knows me on a personal side, we have gone through a lot of changes this last year. We sold the home, we went into trailer, the trailer broke, we've been traveling. It's just, it's been kind of on the outside to other people, they're like, oh my gosh, so much is happening. But we have found so much joy in that. And we haven't had the fear of instability because we know there's always, we're not going to starve. We're not going to end up with a roof not over our head. There are people who love us, and there are things that will happen. And so in this conversation with this gentleman, I was like, so what would happen if you went after your dream? Like, best case scenario. He's like, I would be doing what I meant to do, and I would be happy, and I would be really, really successful. And I said, okay, what's the worst case scenario if you failed? Would you be homeless? No. Would you not have food or money to take care of yourself? Do you have a family? He said, no, I've got a wonderful supporting family that they would be there for me. I'm like, you would be happier. You might be more successful. You have a supportive family if things go wrong. I mean, obviously you don't want things to go wrong, but worst case scenario, you've got a supporting family that would be there for you. And you want this. And I could tell when he was talking, he was just like, he lit up when he talked about it. And he was just like, yeah, I know I was born to do this. And then he goes on to tell me that apparently his father was in the same career and extremely successful at it. And I'm like, he's like, it's in my blood. And I'm like, why are you waiting? And so we forget sometimes that we can be brought into an illusion of security that doesn't bring us any joy. And then we can be in this place where we just feel stuck. And it was really interesting. He says, it's really funny. I've been praying and praying and praying to try to find an answer, what to do, what steps to make, or what I need to be doing. And he said, and I never really thought about the fact that I really just want to be happy. I want to enjoy what I'm doing. Now, I don't know if he's making a change in his life or not making a change in his life. That's on him. It's his choice. I have no idea. But I see this question come from one all the time. What brings you joy? What brings you joy? What makes you want to get up up and start your day? What brings a smile to your face? And does money have anything to do with that? Does our career have anything to do with it? Or are we being restricted by the illusions of what life is supposed to be and keeping us from being truly happy in our core? Now, you have to decide what happiness means to you. And it may mean making a lot of money and doing a job you're not happy with because you like all the things that you get as a result of it. But you might also go, wait a minute, you know what? The payoff is worth it, or the payoff is not worth it. And that's what you have to ask yourself. I'm not here to tell anybody what is or isn't their answer. I'm just saying, ask yourself, are you finding joy in every day? Are you living the best possible life that you want to live? Or are you walking around empty, alone, feeling like, what's the purpose? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for you. And I'm still working on the answer for me, because it's certainly not about the riches. It's about being able to live the life that flows for me, that works for me. And sometimes we make choices that I just want you to think about. What is the conscious choice that you want to make, and not be driven by just the patterns that society says you have to live in, driven by what society thinks we need to be or not be, because only you know what's in your heart. Nobody else. Nobody else knows. Nobody else knows what your heart says. Nobody else knows what you're feeling. Nobody is having the experience that you are having. There may be others that have a similar experience, but yours is yours. And you get to choose every day what it is you want to live by and what you want your life to look like. And I'm just asking you to take a moment and make a conscious choice of what it is you want and what will bring joy to your life. And know that you have choices even when you think you don't. And that's all I wanted to share. And I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day and even more joyous life.